Welcome to the Sci-Fi Center, the place to be, where comic books and wrestling collide magically. Movies, TV shows, and pop culture we share. Get ready to rock, we're here to take you there. From superheroes to aliens in outer space, we've got the latest news and reviews in our embrace. Turn on your screen, let the neon lights glow. We'll take you back to the 80s. Let's rock and roll. Sci-Fi Center, where the legends come alive. Get ready to geek out, let your imagination fly. We're diving into the past with a touch of modern flair. Sci-Fi Center, the ultimate pop culture lair.
Welcome to Wednesday. I almost said happy Wednesday. There's a lot of reasons to be happy, a lot of reasons to be thankful, but obviously, if you saw from the thumbnail, one of the main reasons why I was even doing a show tonight is because 3 years ago today, at this very time, I was on the air. This is pre-Brad. This is when we were still on the air with like Stella and Fade. And at that point, we started to see things come across the internet. Not necessarily trustworthy sources, but enough of them to where the worry was there. And then, hoping that we would go to sleep and wake up, because there's a lot of hoax, a lot of stupid shitheads post fake death news. I don't know why they do it, but it happens. And I know there's been plenty of times when there's been a celebrity that is alive and well somewhere that some shithead posted a thing just to get, a click or something. So we were hoping, all of us that were on the air tonight, were hoping that was the case. It was not. We would wake up later on that day and find out that Jason David Frank had taken his own life at the age of 49. That was 3 years ago today. 3 years ago, right at this hour that I'm sitting in right now. So prior to that, before I was even on YouTube, all the way going back to my days, when I was deployed and suicide prevention classes, things like that. This is something that if you've ever been in the military, I don't know too many military personnel, regardless of how long they were in, that especially ones that deployed, that situation did not touch them. YouTube has helped. Our platform here has helped us project it a little bit more than I had prior to having YouTube, but the mission is still the same: to put the information out there, to help with the resources, to make people aware. Look for the signs. And you never know what it could be. Just changes, things like that. I think a lot of people assume that if somebody's a star, they're rich and everything else, they're happy. No, it doesn't happen. Look how many people that had loads of money and weren't happy. As broke as I am most of the time, listen, I'll take happiness over a lot of things. I'll take health over a lot of things. I'll take normalcy over a lot of things. And that's not overrated. So don't know where the fuck Brad is. But hey, I know he would want to have some stuff to say, so hopefully he wakes up from his slumber and he's here. I think what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to just start like messing with the time so that it lines up with his like 15 or 20 minutes of being late. But like I said, he's on the East Coast, so I'm not gonna mess around. So yeah, we're gonna talk a little bit about that. It won't dominate the whole show, but it is something I want to commemorate. There are certain passings that I will commemorate because they kind of shook me. Anthony Bourdain's death was one that's like somebody kicking me right in the groin. This one, um, not all of them are suicides, even though, I mean, like, Chris Cornell shouldn't have shocked me, but it did when it happened, but there are passings like, we got one coming up this weekend, at the end of this weekend. It'll be this weekend, Freddie Mercury, every November. I think it's November 20, I think it's November 21st for Freddie. I know we got the news later when it came to Freddie Mercury because no internet back then. He had officially announced that he had AIDS, and then 24 hours, he was gone. A lot of people inside the music industry already knew, but once again, we didn't have 24-hour. We had 24-hour news cycles, but November 24th. That's going to be Monday. And like I said, I will open up the show with that. I don't care what anybody says. Greatest vocalist to ever breathe. But there are certain deaths that shook me, and this one was one of them because when you think of Power Rangers, he's the first one that comes to mind. Even though I know there were other people, there was even one that passed years ago. Shortly after the show was done, the Yellow Ranger died. But this was the one. He was the one that just kept it alive, kept it relevant. And I think he's one of the reasons why it's still relevant today. And I see the other Rangers at convention. I saw Pink Ranger at Comic-Con. And to a person that was in line, because I stood in line for Rhea to get a book signed by somebody. She was getting a book signed for the Pink Rangers book. She was covering Hall H for me, so I came over and I was at the Pink Rangers picture. I got pictures of it, and every person in that was like, I wish Tommy was here. I wish Jason was here, and it was like, damn, there's like 50 people in that line to see her. To see Pink Ranger. And every one of them, just about every one of them said that. And you could see it weighing on her because she kept saying, I wish he was too. And could you just imagine that? I mean, she understood. She understood, but that's how much that guy meant. That's how that guy made a lot of people happy. And it just sucks that there was nobody there to throw him a lifeline. So, and like I said, when we do these things, we've raised, the link is in the chat. It's also in the description. It's serious business when we do these campaigns, when we do these fundraisers. I know we have a lot of fun. I know we joke around. I know we're willing to do silly shit to get the number moved. But when you look at where, and I've had, people from AFSP come up and so they can do a better job of explaining where these things go, education, things that happen with people after the person has passed. There's still counseling going on. There's still resources that the people left behind need. There's the hotlines, things like, making it so that people can sustain those hotlines, because they're not, 24/7, 988. You can, if you follow the instructions I posted on there, somebody's there. That takes resources for somebody to be there. It takes resources for study. I mean, this is an illness. This is just like any other illness. It's not on a cellular level, but it is on a mental level. It is a plague. It is an illness, and illnesses need to be researched. So when we do these things, when I post that link in there, it's serious business. We're having fun. Don't get me wrong. We are going to have fun on our way to this 20,000 that I feel real good about making before the calendar year 2025 is out. But it's serious business. When you donate 5, 10, whatever, it's going somewhere. It's not going to me. It's going directly to them. I click on a button, and half of the money goes to the local chapter here in Nevada, Southern Nevada, and the rest goes to the national chapter. So it's serious business, and I hope when you guys see us put that link on there, beyond the laughs, beyond the giggles, beyond the silly stuff that we will always be doing, because even though I want you guys to take this seriously, I don't want to turn it into a dreadful situation. We're doing something, we're not just sitting there mourning somebody. Every time you guys donate or share that link or join one of our campaigns, you're not just waiting for something bad to happen. You're trying to stop something awful from happening. So take that seriously, but have fun doing it and spread the word. Spread the word. Spread the link. Spread the resource. I've had people in my message box with some issues, asking for the resources, asking for the link, asking if pound 988 works, asking if there's somebody on the other line that's going to judge. No, these people are professionals. They're on the other line. They are trained. They are very trained. I've talked with some of them because I was curious to see, what lies on the other side of that line. I want to be able to tell people that when you dial that 24/7, it takes nothing to dial that. And just to do it, just have the impulse. I would rather you have the impulse to dial 988 than to do anything else. I want the impulse to dial 988 to be stronger than the impulse to do the other thing. All right. Look who's here. Look who is here.
Everybody.
Brad, the reverse version of the White Rabbit. That the fuck less if he's late for a very important date. But I'm just fucking with you. This is not a very important date, and it's 3 hours on the East Coast. How are you doing today?
Good, sir. I mean, troublemaker my ass.
Did I say that out loud? Wow.
Oh yeah, troublemaking because I had the nerve to say I liked one Superman movie over another.
No, I did the same thing. I did the same thing. Nobody fucks with me.
Yeah, and look at my comment section on that.
Yeah, because you attract. I'm sorry, I hate to call people names. You attract some little boys, man. And be honest with you, maybe it's because I don't respond. I don't think you respond. I don't listen, guys. It doesn't matter if it's Cape movie, anything else. Ace Ventura. Think it's absolutely awful movie, right? Some people like it. A lot of people like it. You don't have to defend what you like. That's the thing about the internet.
Well, here's the thing. I'm not going to defend.
You don't have to defend shit.
I'm going to defend that.
Movie, but you don't have to defend it. You don't have to. Yeah. You're never going to convince me that it's anything but a heaping pile of shit. But you don't have to. You don't have to. That's the thing. When somebody say something good about a Man of Steel, and I posted what I thought. I thought it's the best. That is the most complete. It is the best, most epic Superman movie to date. And if nobody responded to me. I mean, Brad attracts all that. But if you respond to me or Christopher Reeves, you know what? That's fine. That's not the wrong answer. Yeah. But I'm not gonna drool with you because you know what? 6-year-old me loves Superman 78 and Superman 2. But grown me needed something else, and that's what I got later on in life. We don't need to fight over that, and you don't need to try to call me names. I've been on Facebook. It's worse. When I'm on Facebook, I used to be in these groups. You don't know Superman. Wait a minute, shithead. You look at their profile; they're like 17 or 18, and I'm like, me not liking your version or not putting your version of Superman as number one. Doesn't mean I don't know what I'm talking about. All right. It just means I have a different opinion. I don't need to fight you over this. And that's why I left all those dumb Facebook groups because they just want to fight. They don't even care about the character half the time. They just want to fight. And I'm like, dude, fight with yourself. There's no reason why your opinion is going to weigh down or it's not going to change mine.
Oh, yeah. That's the other thing.
Your opinion and the money made, Superman 2025 could have made $35 billion. And it's not going to change anything for me.
And yelling at me, reposting I like Man of Steel, and saying that you like the new Superman better, that's not going to change my perspective on it either, of like where I rank Superman.
But I do think you're out there fishing.
You
know what's coming. You know exactly what's coming when you post me. I know they're not going to fuck with me because they know it's a dead issue. They can post it. You can see some of the responses. I'm not going to go back and forth with you. I said what I said. And that's it. It's not going to change unless you introduce some new fact, or if you want to talk to me respectfully about the merits of your opinion and why you think this, and we do the dick measuring contest, that's fine. But if you want to get into the stupid shit, that's you got to cut that shit off like immediately. Never respond to that shit. Never fucking respond. You're doing the dance. Every time you respond to one of these assholes, they got you on remote control. They push one button, you dance. They push the other button, you roll over. Once you respond to that bullshit, you belong to them. So fuck that. Well,
We'll
also talk.
The other point I made is I'm not taking toxic fandom lectures from people who want to do that either.
You shouldn't even be acknowledging them at all. Why are you even looking at them? You're doing the dance. They got you on the stream. They're like, yeah, let's fuck with Brad here. You know, you don't have to take it. Why acknowledge their lectures? The first couple of words into it, this is bullshit. Click. That's all you got to do. Dude.
All I did was I quote tweeted my post and said, it's like, oh yeah, it's like, and we're the I don't think verbatim, but it's like, yeah, we're the toxic ones, right?
Yep. Yeah, but by doing that, you gave them the remote, and they just said, "Let me aim Brad wherever the fuck I want to go."
Apparently ruffled other people's feathers too on me saying that, but that's a whole other story.
And it's like, internet people, my fellow Facebookers and YouTubers and whatever. Here's the thing. We go full screen. You don't have to give a fuck about somebody's response. It's okay not to. You don't have to acknowledge somebody's response. You don't have to do it. You said what you said. That's it. You don't have to. There's no rule. You're not a lesser person for just moving on. I said what I said. Because a lot of stuff ends up in you repeating the same shit. It's like what you said it. You made the post. Did your spell check? You made sure everything was okay. Make sure all the words were right. You made your post. That's it. Anything else is bullshit. Anything else is just a bait. Unless you were that's what you wanted. I mean, but if you want to post an opinion, and it's your opinion about anything, by the way, not just about fucking Superman, anything. That's what the whole social media is. It's for you to express your opinion. You don't have to defend that shit. You know, you don't even have to acknowledge. I know listen, we know there are shitheads in the world. We don't need to put a flashlight on the shit. We know they're there. We don't need to aim for the shit. We don't need to go, there's another way around, fucking avoid them. Don't dive headfirst into the nonsense, fuck that. But yeah, we're going to be talking a little bit of, you were not with us when he passed away.
This was about it would have been about 2 months before
3 years
ago.
Oh, was it that long? Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it was 3 years ago. And that would have been about 2 months before William and I first hooked up. And of course, we're talking about the untimely death of Jason David Frank, of course, best known as Tommy Oliver on Power Rangers. And yeah, that I could still remember just that. That it was Thanksgiving. It was Thanksgiving that year. Because
it was earlier.
And just
it was like that Tuesday. I think Thanksgiving was like
and
that.
It was,
and
it was. I mean, dead of night. Just scrolling through Twitter. Thanksgiving weekend, and just starting seeing like a handful of posts. And it's like all along the lines of, "Did you hear? How's it going there? Did you hear? Jason David Frank died?" And if you see like one of those, it's like okay. It's the internet. It is whatever. You start seeing like half a dozen of those. It starts.
And I saw six. Me and Dave were on there, and 6 of them was like, okay,
yeah, and that's
something's wrong. Something is seriously happening here, and that's when we got up the air.
And that's when I really. I mean, you go to. I just got offline that night, went to bed, and was hoping. I was hoping and praying I would wake up and like see like him actually post on his social media. It's like, hey, everybody had a good Thanksgiving. By the way, I heard I died. Haha, kind of like
that's what I was hoping. And then I got on his Instagram page, and I think it was his daughter, who had made it. Once she said it, and she said, "This is a daughter." Once she said it, that was it. That was it, and that was devastating. We did another show. I remember because we were on the air when we started seeing the rumors, and then me and Thade did another show that night, and it was like a long show because it was a lot of people. That was a hard one to do. Listen, I'm not the biggest Power Rangers guy in the world. I know what he meant. I know what Power Rangers means to people, and I know what that particular person meant to Power Rangers, and by extension, knows people.
Yeah.
There's a lot of anywhere. It could be a small anywhere in the world. It could be a show with like 200 people. Fucking, he was there. It could be 2,000 people. He was Comic-Con. He was there. It wasn't like if he had the time to be there, he was there.
Yep.
holding up this franchise. Because I'm sorry, there's a lot of during its 30 years, there's some stretches of Power Rangers where it just didn't feel like it were going in the right direction. But you know what was always the right? It didn't matter how shitty the version of Power Rangers was. David, whatever, Neil put on the uniform. He was there. He was there. Sometimes the only one there. Sometimes because their schedules didn't always line up.
Yeah.
So you felt that one. That one, okay. Depending on who you are and what you're into, like, I don't know if it's I don't know if it's an accurate comparison to obviously Kurt Cobain, but I hadn't felt something like that since him.
Yeah, I can see the comparison. I could definitely see the comparison
because you could see it. I mean, we had MTV. Kurt Cobain was before the internet took foot like it did now. We had social media when David Frank died. We had you could feel it.
Yeah, it's within 24 hours that everybody knows with Kurt Cobain. It takes, at that point.
We knew, they found his body, but all we had, the only true source we had to really grieve or connect with anybody was MTV. MTV fucking shut down that day. MTV shut down. They didn't play. I don't believe MTV played anything but Nirvana that day. And listen, Nirvana only had 3 albums. You had Bleach, you had Nevermind, and you had In Utero, and you had some live stuff with the MTV. They didn't have a full catalog, but I swear to God, you would have swore that they had been around for 70 years that day.
And Kurt Cobain, he was what, like 28?
27.
Yeah.
Kurt Cobain was 27. And remember when we covered some of these topics of the 90s and why, whenever I go back to, how I feel about the 90s and the era, you got to realize the things that Kurt Cobain and a lot of people of that era were saying connected with people that were going through the same shit. Kurt Cobain was depressed. I mean, he had a lot of issues going on, and that's what he wrote about. Same thing with Chris Cornell. Same thing with a lot of those guys that when they connected, and that's where you felt it there.
And that's, I mean, not to, this might sound a little bit morbid, but that's where I think like Jason Frank's death was, the shock hits a little bit harder in the sense that, with Kurt Cobain, compared to Chris Cornell, that, rock stars, I mean, there's a reason why,
they got a label of going through issues and depression and drugs.
The term sex, drugs, and rock and roll didn't come from nowhere. And within that, there's also, I don't know if common.
Same thing with comedians in some cases.
Yeah,
Belushi and Chris Farley. I mean,
I don't know if I would use the word common to describe depression as a trait within that profession, but it's not. It's definitely not unheard of. Whereas with Jason Frank,
and you have access to things to make it worse.
Yeah,
mainly heroin.
Yeah, and with Jason Frank, I mean, the news.
I was not aware. I was not aware that it was so shocking. Because I was not aware. When Chris Cornell died, it was shocking, but not shocking in the fact that he could be depressed because he literally was using music to tell you the things that he was going through. Anthony Bourdain shocked me. Anthony Bourdain was like somebody slapped me in the face and pushed me to the floor. Because Anthony Bourdain was a guy who exuded the look on the bright side type of deal. And these guys that do this, it fucking sucks that it just doesn't seem, you feel that nobody's looking out for them, even though that's not fair, because just in our studies and the things that we do here, it's not easy and people can hide it very well. Sometimes up to the point where they're gone.
And Jason Frank, hit it very well because again, I'd imagine this is the case for a lot of people. It's like I had no idea he's feeling any depression. I mean, like what he's saying, like you talk about, you see him at Comic-Con, so you see his association with Power Rangers. I mean, he just exuded. He just seemed like just the most upbeat, just personable, cheerful dude. And he didn't give off like one. There wasn't the slightest hint of depression or any mental health issues or anything in that direction at all.
I mean, up to and including like the daily stuff. If you go to his Instagram days before he's gone, there's nothing there that screams out. I mean, some of these guys will post a tweet or they'll post some crazy shit, and then you'll be like, "Hey, That's what's going on here. There's nothing there. There was nothing there, and that just tells you that's why these things that we do, and everybody, not just us with the money, we're everybody who's doing something for this and raising awareness for this, because those resources go into things that might help you be like, wow, something's off today, or something happened here, and I should be looking out for certain people. If there's a death, a breakup, certain things, maybe I should check in on somebody. Maybe I should, maybe I should make a random text, say, hey, how's everything going? You know what? Or, it seems like that you would not necessarily do because you don't think about it. But that's what these things, they help. And when you have the counseling, like I said, I've gone through the counseling. It's a different situation for military because we know what to look for. We knew what the instigators were. So it was an easier thing. I'm not going to say easy, but it was much more targeted and focused. But now when you get out of the military, you still got these issues with you. And then you don't have the resources, which it's despicable, by the way, that we don't have the readily available resources for people who you've sent to wars. That's fucked up, but that's another stream on another channel. But when it's just your everyday person, you don't know what could be setting them off. You don't know what can be burning away. You don't know any of that stuff. And I think even with training, it's still hard, but at least you have a shot. Listen, I'm on Facebook. Facebook is my primary means of, communication with a lot of people. Twitter, whatever. Instagram, but Facebook has been the one, even though I've had Twitter longer than I've had any other, unless it's MySpace or whatever that is.
But it's still there.
It's still there. I wish I could buy it and do something with it. But okay, so every now and then, somebody 2-3 o'clock in the morning, my hours of operation, they'll post some shit. And it's not just the normal shit. It's that, okay, what the fuck are you about to do shit? And call me a stalker. I tell you, I told you guys I've done this. Call me a weirdo. Call me whatever the fuck you have. And you know what? When I find your number, don't ask me how. Or if I use the messenger to call you at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning because I saw you post some shit, you're going to get that call. I've done it. I've had people saying, I'm done. They'll post, I'm done. Or they'll post, I don't want to be. And I'm like, you know what? Let me go ahead and call this.
That actually happened with an old coworker of mine. Me and another I'll leaving names out of, but social media posts, a couple we'd seen where it's like this is getting concerning. So we passed it along to the upper management, and they fortunately this individual has not taken their life, but it was the signals were definitely there.
I'll take the chance that you just saying something because you're mad at the moment. I'll take the chance that we'll be sitting at a bar or at a party somewhere. Remember that fucking moron William called me at 4:30 in the morning out of YouTube? Some dude I may have barely known or known him. Yeah, I'll be like, yeah, let's laugh about it because you know why? You're still here, shithead. Here's the thing though, because if I don't do it, and I woke up to the next morning and you get that, did you hear about so and so talk? And I saw that shit scroll by, I'll never forgive myself. So yeah, if I got your number and you post some crazy shit and it's in real time, sorry, I'll be the weirdo. I'll be the intrusive person. And I've been on the phone and I've done the little thing to where I've been in the chat. I got on the little chat with the suspension chat and I hooked them up so that person got a call and I didn't get off the line until they ran though. Fuck it. Like if I see strange shit, that's a sign. It may be a sign that you think nobody cares. It's like, fuck it, I'm just going to post some random shit. It's just going to happen and nobody's going to care. Somebody's going to give me an emoji and that's it. Nah, you guys, there's a crazy person online that saw that and I'm like, what do I say? I think he's just or there, she just is, going through a thing. That's a risk. That's a gamble. I would rather, like I said, you laugh at me and be like, how the fuck did you even get my number? Don't worry about it. And why are you calling me? I don't worry. I saw your post. Once you reach them and you say, hey, I saw your post, And then if they didn't mean to cause that and they were just in the moment, that I need to hear that. And then they realize, oh shit, I really put that out there. And there's some people that saw that. Now people are worried about me. And then a lot of times they'll do another post. They'll take that post down. Hey, I'm okay. I'm just, had a bad day at work. All right, cool. Sometimes I talk to people who I know they were, because it was a couple of posts. And then they start posting the pictures. I'm like, okay, fucking, you're about to do some shit. And I start finding out who lives near you. Sometimes you don't live in the same state as me, but I'll find some fool. And I had one guy that I knew, and it was in college, 2 different people that lived within the same city block of each other, right? I had them come over and knock on the door. They wouldn't answer the phone and knocked on the door and say, who is it? I got William on the line. I do. You don't get a do-over. That sounds extreme. I understand. That sounds creepy. I understand. But there is no...
Imagine... And imagine if there had been somebody there to have that intervention with Jason Frank, we'd be talking about something else tonight.
Hey, you're in your hotel room about to do some crazy shit. Why don't we go? I don't drink, but I'll watch you get drunk. I'll watch Spilly do whatever you be. Most of this stuff is people are going through things and they don't think anybody cares. They don't think they're seen. They think they're the only ones fighting this thing. And then I'm like, nah, dude, there's like a whole group of people I can. And guess what?
And it's really, I mean, we another thing I remember, like one of the AFSP street. It might have been actually one of the like online Justice Cons when they had some of the AFSP people on for that. And I think it was one of the AFSP people said that when somebody this really illustrates like how sudden somebody's mind can turn, and and just how it was just how pertinent it is to intervene if you're able to do so. They mentioned that when somebody's mind turns to where they're seriously considering ending their own life, it's usually like within that first 30 minutes that they actually
it's impulsive.
It's impulsive. And it's actually, this kind of relates to one thing that recently that really kind of highlights that actually is the Smashing Machine with The Rock. For those of you who haven't seen the movie, there's just one scene that really kind of highlights what I'm talking about. He's basically he's having an argument with his wife about they have kind of a rocky marriage in the movie, and they're at this point where they're kind of preparing for his career comeback, but again, there's, without going into details, there's just friction in the marriage, and they have this big argument, this big blowout, and then all of a sudden, like he looks over into the master bedroom, and she's got a gun in her hand, and puts up to her head. He has to sprint over there and tackle her and get it out of her hand, and she's taken into the mental health ward that night. But again, it's the way the scene starts.
She's still alive too, right?
Yes.
Yeah. See, dude, man.
But the way
minutes away.
The way the scene starts, again, it's a cumulative thing about like all this stuff they're dealing with prior to that. But like the way the scene starts, it's like they're having like a pleasant conversation, and 5 minutes later, she's got a gun to her head.
Yeah, and I've heard I've heard the plunge. It's like a plunge, and it's a matter of that's what the whole 988 thing means to me, at least. It's like what you're trying to do is make it to where that impulse is replaced by the impulse to at least talk to somebody. If you know that there's something there, if you know that there's somebody on the other line that's going to take it seriously, or either that's been through it themselves or is going to take it seriously, and that it's not just some random person just trying to talk you off from a cliff because they don't want something to happen on their watch. It's some people that have dealt with it or are trained to deal with it and can lead you through all that stuff. But in a heartbeat, it's because I know people at work. I know people in all walks of my life that multiple people that have done the act. And then you start getting that whole Monday morning quarterback. Oh, but now to come to think of it, he was. I mean, what the fuck? Laugh at me because I'm the weirdo that got you 4:00 in the morning. But I will take that. I will take that in a heartbeat. I've talked to people when I've done that, and I'm like, they're like, no, I'm buying, and they tell me to buy, and I'm like, okay, you're not going to do anything crazy, because I'm proving you wrong. By the way, when you just type nobody cared, I'm talking to you on a Facebook messaging telephone call at 4:00 in the morning. That should refute everything in that, and then no, I'm fine, and then like a couple hours ago, or later they'll call and say no, I wasn't. And that's fine. And you know what? 3 hours, it's and the main thing once you get that though is you got to get them. You got to get these digits. You got to get because I am trained to a certain extent, but I am not the road home. The most important thing you could do is get those people involved. Get those people involved. I am not Dr. William. I am not. I human beings don't have to be doctors to spot some shit. If you know the people around you, the family members around you sometimes, and like I said, sometimes even with this, it just happens. But there's a good chance, even if it's a 30% chance that you notice, hey, where is he at? He's not showing up to the normal things anymore. Why is he posting these pictures and posting these pictures of somebody that we both know is gone or broken up with? Then you start, and the holidays. The holidays are the big ones. Holidays were the big ones. Because holidays, especially with social media, you're reminded if you've lost something or broken up with something, you get reminded of that every time. Your anniversary of this, you're like, oh shit, that sucks. So yeah, there's a lot involved, and that's why when we do the campaigns, it's really important. We're doing the most effective thing other than, hey, are you okay? That's probably the most effective thing you can do if you ever run into, hey, are you okay? Type of situation. Checking in on people. Other than that, the other powerful thing you can do is make it to where once you recognize it and say, okay, they have something. There are people who are going to call this number and go into this chat that will never say anything to you. They don't need to. There are people who will fight this fight all by themselves or with the appropriate people, and you'll hear about it years from now or never at all. That's fine. That's fine. I'm not keeping score. The score that I won't want to see is the one in the wrong column. I'd rather have zeros across the board, to be honest with you. So the link is in the chat. The link is in the description, and we got several campaigns to ride out 2025. I'm determined to get that 20,000.
And again, we're
determined to get that 20. We're getting close.
Within
inside of $3,000. You're right. Inside of $3,000. Let me look.
Early hours of the morning for me when the news was slowly coming out about it. It was like dead of night.
Yeah.
For me, it was probably like after midnight when I was just scrolling through Twitter and like start seeing like posts about I guess, and they were all like phrased like in some way like, did you hear Jason David Frank died? And again,
TMZ, who currently has a Grim Reaper in their employ to know exactly when people are dying, which is kind of, I know it's news, but damn, fuck.
Yeah.
They were the first ones I heard it, and I'm like,
those young Jason. Yeah, I know we're still waiting on that to come out. I think they posted that they finally got their sent off to the distributor, so hopefully you hear about that soon. By the way, because we were going to talk about him tonight. One thing I'll bring up with Jason Frank too, because he was and this is relevant, William. This is just like Kung Fu Brad talking. This is of course he was also very known and respected in the martial arts community. He even went to MMA. And he did phenomenal there. He was undefeated in his career. He was the founder actually of a discipline of his own called Toso Kundo, which is it translates to, I believe, a way of the fighting fist. And I'll go read off because I have a Wikipedia page up here. I'll read off the man was just like just so knowledgeable in so many different disciplines. So this is like the training he had at the time of his death. He held an 8th Dan or 8th degree, for those of you the martial arts parlance, the 8th Dan in Shotokan karate, which the highest you can, as far as like different, kind of gradings and rankings, evaluations and different disciplines, like the black belt system is most associated with Japanese and Korean martial arts. Other cultures do it somewhat differently, but that's kind of the one that most people tend to most really recognize. But the highest you can, as far as like black belt kind of rankings, like the highest you can get is 10th. So he was 8th in Shotokan, at the time of his death. He also held black belts in Ueda Ryu Karate, Taekwondo, and Judo. He held a purple belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, as well as an Arjan degree in Muay Thai, and he was also really well versed in Aikido, Wing Chun, Kung Fu, and Jeet Kune Do. So, and he took all that knowledge and he found his own discipline called Toso Kundo, which is still being carried on at its Rising Sun Karate. Because he owned a bunch of schools, still being carried on to this day by his students and instructors that trained under him. So, and I mean, I personally owe a lot to him, as far as like the path that's taken me down. The example he set on Power Rangers. I mean, that was, he is one of the main people like planted the seed in my brain, that made me, again, like the Kung Fu martial arts nut that I am today. So I on a personal level, I really kind of owe him a lot for being such a figure that sort of pointed me in down the path and led me down the path that I've taken in my life. I imagine it's also very much the case for you too, Aaron.
All right, so we're gonna get into some other stuff, and then we'll jump in. I'll read the Stargate announcement, which is
I sent this to you, William, because I as far as like news today, it's like, I mean, there's obviously more this merger stuff's going on, and I sent this to you a little bit ago, and you said this actually it's kind of reassuring as far as like if Netflix.
Yeah, because remember when this first came up, when people were panicking that if Netflix gets it, there's going to be a death of studio, and we brought up a possibility. There's one of two ways this could go. They could absorb them and just farm them out for content, or they could use Warner Brothers as a distributor, because now you have the infrastructure to distribute. Warner Brothers is not just a studio; they're the distributor. So that's an important thing for to understand, that if they keep Warner Brothers as a whole and let it operate as a studio, an independent studio, it could benefit them, because they could literally have a source of first run movies that are constantly going through, IPs that they could use. They could keep Warner Brothers intact. They could use IPs wherever they want to, but the studio being intact actually helps them, because it feeds them content. So,
and this is where I asked you, because of course we expressed our doubt with like the Paramount, when they say it's like we're just going to keep like the current leadership in place, so we've kind of expressed our skepticism about the sincerity of that. But with this, you said like you think you're willing to take Netflix at their word on this. So
yeah, because Netflix knows that they don't. Netflix has no studio vision. They have no desire to have a studio vision. And this is what I mean when I say people stop trying to change Netflix, into something that's not Netflix. This is the best of both worlds, because they know what the good thing about Netflix is they know what they don't know. They know that they're not a Warner Brothers, they're not a Paramount, they're not a MGM. So, but if they wanted to get into that, I pretty much think that they would keep the people in charge of that, because none of their people are those people. There's no redundancy there. There's no redundancy there. You can make a claim that HBO Max would be redundant with Netflix, but not necessarily. Not necessarily, because you could cycle all your Warner Brothers content through HBO Max, and then ultimately ends up on Netflix if you wanted to keep it that way. I would not want to see them merge Netflix and HBO Max, and I don't think they will. So it reassures me a little bit.
Yeah, that kind of suggests to me too that they would not go down that path with if Netflix ends up being the new parent company. One thing as kind of an offshoot of that too is them, again, if Netflix saying, okay, we're going to keep Warner Brothers as the theatrical, their business model as far as theaters, it's like we're not touching that, we're interfering with that. But what do you think this does this impact at all, like their business model as far as like Warner Bros. Still distributing physical media or digital downloads? Is that
not any more than Warner Brothers distributing physical media it has done since the existence of Netflix? It hasn't affected Netflix business model at all.
So you think that it would be the same thing as them saying, okay, we're keeping the theater approach as is. It would be the same with physical media and digital download.
Yeah, and if anything, now that they have a distributor and a infrastructure in place, if they wanted to do something that way, they still keep it in house. They could take now Stranger Things goes through Warner Brothers distribution. Instead of and you could do things on an occasional basis, but I don't think I think it's going to have the same effect on them now as Warner Brothers and any other studios having now. There are always going to be things that are made for Netflix proper, and then there's going to be things that are done on the Warner Brothers level, because the expectation for Netflix and what they do and what they show you is not the same for what Warner Brothers is. And the best thing that they could do is keep those expectations the same. Keep the Netflix, and keep Warner Brothers. And I think that's what they'll end up doing.
All right, so this is kind of
if this happens, by the way, we don't fucking know.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, isn't today?
Yeah, today is the day where like everybody who's like a prospective bidder is like, this is their deadline to.
I'd be so happy when this day is over.
Well, it doesn't mean like today is like the day they're gonna decide who's gonna come out on top. Like I would imagine it's still at least gonna be a little bit, somewhat longer before we have like a winner of this bidding war.
Yeah, I mean, I try not to respond for the most part. I'm doing well. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad. Hey, listen, I've had every now and then when I'm deciding whether I'm just going to pull a show out of my ass, and I hadn't planned it, you just got a feeling that there are people out there that need to hear something other than what they're hearing in their head right now. Even if it's my Cookie Monster voice talking about bullshit, it's better than what they're sitting alone in a room thinking. Sometimes it's just a couple hour and a half, and you just get the feeling that somebody, even with our minuscule microscopic following, that there's somebody within that following that just needs you to stream that night. I get that feeling every now and then. That's why I don't mind doing it. Even when we only have like 8 or 9 people, maybe somebody in that 8 or 9 people needed to just needed a break from the bullshit, and we just gave it to him. So cool.
Yeah, this is true, Aaron. He this is when he began his MMA career. He was because like he had his the Rising Sun karate schools that he ran, and Frank, he was also a little bit of an entrepreneur, and he like one MMA apparel and a clothing line he ran. It was called Jesus Didn't Tap, and I remember he talked about like the reason he launched that with that slogan is he because you look at like a lot of like MMA gear and clothes and apparel, and he talked about it's like the slogan a lot of them have tends to be something along the lines of like, I'm gonna whoop your ass or stuff like that. And he said he wanted to have something with a slogan that was a little bit more uplifting and encouraging. And he thought, okay, well, Jesus didn't tap. It's like pretty, there you go. It's kind of perfect for that. So yes,
Brad did an article. I clicked on the article. This is before I knew Brad was a troublemaker. So I clicked on the article. I'm like, okay, well, I want him to expand. So I invited him on the show to talk for a little bit.
This is when I was on I was at Screen Rant at the time. I wrote this is when like the whole DC cinematic kind of a shift happened. I read the article was titled "If DC Isn't Restoring the Snyderverse, It Needs to Properly End It."
And that was where I was at. I was a conclude the Snyderverse, not hashtag. If I were ever going to do that,
and for the record, we're still at that mindset.
Yeah, I'm not a restore the Snyderverse guy. I may conclude, and I'm not one of those people, in particular, in what form it is. Get the story out there, get it out there. Once you get the papers and staple stories out there, let it do what it's going to do, one way or another. So yeah, but that's how we got together.
And that first stream was just kind of a one-off, but we kept William and I kept DMing and talking, especially when like Gunn was like announcing the DC slate and the Snyder Con was coming up, and that was, I think that was the second time William and I streamed together. Was we were one of the YouTube channels that was kind of a lead into the because a bunch of YouTubers were participating.
Oh yeah, and I had the honor of being the one that let in Zack Snyder's Justice League on that Sunday night because I couldn't get I was up and I could have gotten tickets to that. Then I found out Lloyd Kaufman was coming out, and I'm like, okay, well, that's not happening. So,
I think that was my second stream with William, and then just like things like The Flash was like, were coming up, and Rebel Moon were coming up. And we just kept DMing back and forth more, and so I just started popping on like Saturday night shows more and more, and then just kept snowballing, and now here I am, a regular co-host, and then eventually I came on camera.
Yeah, that took a little bit while. You and Aaron.
Yeah. Aaron says Netflix. They're kind of sporadic about it. Like I got the first 2 seasons of Daredevil on Blu-ray, but like even with like Marvel Netflix, they didn't put like all of it on it. Like I'm pretty sure at least 2 seasons of Jessica Jones made on the Blu-ray, but I think that's about it for what they did with Marvel Netflix. So they're kind of
They don't own it. They did. I
yeah,
think it goes to
they
Disney now.
but but at the time they they when they put those out, there was they had gone to Disney, but yeah, there's no real rhyme or reason about like when they'll put stuff on physical media or not. Which
And I think that should go if they were able to acquire Warner Brothers. That shit's gonna go away. There's no need for them anymore to do so. I mean, it's there. You go.
yeah,
How you doing, Mr. Chill Dude?
That's like anything that's physical media. It's like, okay, Warner Bros., you're tackling that.
Yeah, because you have a division and you can maintain your identity. All right, so a franchise near and what the fuck is my fantasy team doing? Why are you people making trades at like 1:00 in the morning?
Yeah, Forces
Okay,
Gunflix is what it'll be called. He says it'll be called Gunflix. or Droga said, and the fourth didn't like it.
Let's see. I don't know. I'm just gonna paraphrase this article because I'm very skeptical about what this is going to be. It's either going to be if I see reboot of Stargate, I'm gonna stop reading the article right there and then. So be advised, I might not be going all the way through this. So here it is. It's from Deadline. All right. So Amazon MGM Studio has it's greenlit. Amazon Studios has green lighted another series based on a popular MGM IP, giving a series under series order star prime. Right, so we know the money's going to be there. The new installment in the classic sci-fi franchise comes from Martin Giro, a Stargate veteran and veteran showrunner who created NBC's Blind Spot. That was a great show, by the way, Blind Spot. If you guys haven't had a chance to watch that, it's a great show. Stargate was among the first MGM titles identified for series and film adaptations following Amazon's $8.5 billion acquisition of the storied Hollywood studio in 2022. The series pickup follows orders of a Legally Blonde prequel, and what's being smoked there. From the film franchise's star Reese Witherspoon, Tomb Raider, headlined by Sophie Turner, and Barbershop starring Jermaine Fowler, based on MGM movies. Other series such as Poltergeist are in development. Giro, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right, will serve as creator, writer, and executive producer and showrunner of Stargate. Executive producer will also include Joby Harold and Tori Tunnell for Safe House Pictures, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Monarch, Legacy of Monsters. Okay, one of those was really good. As well as Dean Devlin and Roland Emmerich. Oh, shit. Okay, they're laying down some cash.
Yeah, but he was
Roland Emmerich is not cheap on any schedule.
Yeah, well, he's the director of the movie.
Yeah, they're bringing him on board. The duo behind the 1994 Stargate movie, Brad Wright and Joe. Who is not? Is this the Odyssey again? Damn. Longtime creative leaders within the Stargate. I like the fact that they're bringing in people that have handled IP. This is good. Will serve as consulting producers. 20 years ago, my first real job in television was as a story editor on Stargate Atlantis. Another great show. Stargate Atlantis was back when Sci-Friday was when the Sci-Fi Channel was the Sci-Fi Channel, before it went full Sharknado and fucked up the entire platform. Stargate Atlantis was a brilliant show, man. I spent 5 years on that franchise, working across all 3 series. Yep, because they were all out there. Stargate taught me everything about making television. It is written into my DNA, said Giro. I'm beyond thrilled that Amazon MGM Studios has entrusted me with. And by the way, just pause. The one great thing about Amazon, they don't fuck around with, you know what, we think we know what. No, they go get the people who did stuff. Same thing with Blade Runner, Alcon Productions, and those people that every time they get these IPs, it's littered with people who have had their hands on the most successful aspects of it. So good on them for doing that. I'm beyond thrilled that MGM or Amazon, I can't even say Amazon MGM, just sounds weird. Studios has entrusted me with guidance incredible franchises in the next phase. For those who have kept the gate active through conventions, which are very popular, rewatches, and unwavering faith, this one is for you. And those of you that are new to our world, I promise you're in for something extraordinary. Stargate is a military sci-fi franchise that centers on Stargate, an ancient ring-shaped device that creates a stable wormhole, enabling near instantaneous travel across the cosmos. Original launch. Let's see. I'm just saying. Okay, development. Okay. All right. Now there is nothing in here that tells me I did not hear that awful word. I didn't
you've
hear
seen it
that
in the
awful
comments,
word.
definitely.
That tells me that we're in the right direction.
Oh, but we got another term here tonight. The fourth is coined. Reboot with a lead. It's a she-boot.
Why did you bring that up? See, you encourage this knuckleheaded behavior when you bring the shit up on screen. No, I haven't watched Wuthering Heights. I just so many things that I haven't watched it. No, I don't think it's gonna be a reboot. You really generally don't bring in people, that many people that are familiar with the way things are, if you're going to reboot. If Richard Dean Anderson was great as Jack. I mean, you had that show lasted for 10 years. And the thing that sucked about Stargate SG-1 was it started off great with the gold, and then it had a little middle section there where they were fighting, just miscellaneous thing. And then the Ori in the last 2 years, they wasted so much time in getting to the Ori, which was a great storyline. And then the series was over because they wanted to go make movies. And then Stargate Atlantis, they cut. I thought could have lasted 4 or 5 more years, but I just put it frankly, Sci-Fi Channel lost their balls. They abandoned.
What happened? Your balls drop off?
They abandoned things like Battlestar Galactica, in my opinion. They abandoned things like Doctor Who. They abandoned things like the Stargate stuff for Sharktopus.
Sharknado, that's what it was.
Sharknado.
Well, I mean, Sharktopus is like, I think they have done. I mean, it's like goofy fighting monsters fighting each other.
There's a channel for that, though. See, Sci-Fi Channel was a channel for a guy like me. There's a channel for that kind of stuff. It's a comedy channel. That's what you put on before and after South Park.
I thought you were going to say Cartoon Network.
No, I would put it because it's comedy. It's not even. It's stupid. Sharknado. I'm sorry, and I know a lot of you love it.
We people love it, but it's not high art. It's like you get. I mean, it's very much. It's the most. What you see is what you get. Title and movie that's ever been made.
That's like having Sci-Fi Channel going from Sci-Fi days with Doctor Who and all the things I mentioned and going to Sharknado is like when you see your favorite big place go out of business and you see the Spirit sign on it. That's what that was. That was absolutely abysmal. But hey, you know what?
And Aaron, Glover, for those of you reboot, yeah, we don't take kindly to that word reboot around these parts.
Nope. When stupid and lazy fuck. Reboot is the love child
get that put on a
no
shirt
one
in the store, man.
All right, just imagine if Kermit the Frog and Miss Piggy could actually create an offspring. That's what reboot looks like.
Gosh. Wow.
William Brad, Kristen Bell.
What's what's saying it's not fair? It's the animators. Well, what do you mean it's not fair to the animators?
You don't clarify.
Okay,
I'm going to read this again. William Brad, Kristen Bell, Idina Menzel, and Josh Gad have all signed deals to earn over $60 million for Frozen 3, and 4 people on Twitter are upset. It's not fair to the animators of these films. If they're doing a live action film, it's not a fair thing. It's just not in demand.
Why? Because this would be animated because it's Frozen. I think you might be saying it's not fair to them because the animators they're not getting. They're like, I think what you're saying is that because the animators they really build stuff like this from the ground up and they're not getting but
without Idina Menzel's voice singing those. I mean, I can understand the sentiment, but if you're not doing, rational, give me a little bit more info here, so I'm not talking out of my ass. Are you talking about the live action Frozen thing that they're doing, or are they getting this money for doing the actual animated film? Okay, listen, man, I don't know what to say there. It's not like Robert Meyer Burnett says. It's not what's fair; it's what you negotiate. I mean, I don't know enough about that genre and about those type of talks and negotiations to really say anything. To say what's fair with the negotiating leverage. So I don't have a comment for you there.
I do think it kind of speaks to kind of the broader issue of like animators and like VFX. Certainly these days, it's maybe hear about like with Marvel got some real hot water with it recently about VFX artists being like really understaffed.
They ran them into the ground too, and then they put them out of business.
Overworked and underpaid, and that I totally I can't. Oh, I'm totally on your side. Like getting better working conditions, better pay rates.
No, Aaron, Universal, they already have a channel, the comedy channel.
No, that's Paramount. That's because it's Viacom.
That's right. That's because South Park is pissing people. A secondary, I don't know. I'd rather they didn't exist, but if there's a market out there, that's fine. Here's the thing. I wouldn't mind the nonsense that they put on the channel if they hadn't done it in lieu of what really got that channel going. You're talking in the digital cable from 1999 to about 2012 or so. Friday nights went from being a graveyard to where you put shows that were going to cancel to Doctor Who. They brought Doctor Who back. The one thing I will always be eternally grateful for the Sci-Fi Channel at that time. Doctor Who had been dormant from 1989 to 2005 with one TV movie. They had the TV movie with the Eighth Doctor on there, or the Seventh Doctor. They had one TV movie in 1996. But as far as series goes, Doctor Who went off the air in 1989 and did not get back on series TV until the Sci-Fi Channel got Christopher Ellison, Destro, who really should have stuck around a little bit longer, but he couldn't get along. Then here, David Tennant put it in America's lap. It's the same way Tom Baker. For most of us, up till that point, the reason why the Fourth Doctor with his scarf and his crazy hat is so infamous, he was the first one that was broadcast here on a regular basis. And David Tennant did that. They took Doctor Who, they dug through the ashes. They put on the gloves, they got the shovels, and said, we're going to go digging for Doctor Who, and they found it. They resurrected Doctor Who, and it put it back on the map. They went out and they did. Listen, I am not the biggest fan of Ronald B. Moore's version of Battlestar Galactica. It bores me to tears, but it's high quality stuff, and it was loved. Stargate. Let's go back further than that. The Lex, a show that was abandoned and left on the road dead. They picked it up, gave it a new life. Fucking why am I drawing a blank? Why am I drawing? Ben Browder was on the show. That's what got him the job. Farscape. Farscape's a brilliant show. A brilliant show that they purchased from Australia and brought it here and got it like 3 or 4 more years, I think. And Ben Browder and Claudia Black, guess what? Once they were done with that show, where did they turn up next? Some of the best years of SG1. Well, Colonel Mitchell and Vera. I mean, this is every Friday night. Whatever they were throwing, I wanted to see it. They had Battlestar Galactica last 4, and these were long-running shows that could have stayed on. They could have kept Doctor Who forever, but they decided not to renew Doctor Who, and that's why BBC started showing it exclusively. But then we have BBC America. Now it's on Disney. I hope that is over. But we went from that. And they would show episodes of X-Files. I mean, let's look up this real quick. And this is a tragedy. Now, it just the existence of Sharknado and all the Sharktopus and Jesus. I mean, it's just some of the stuff. And I can't even believe I'm mouthing some of these things as serious things. You know, Mark Cuban's in them. Sci-Friday, okay. All right, like 1992, that channel launched in 1992, but it didn't have access to cable. Okay, Farscape, Inner Mind, Sliders. Sliders was another one they found up and dug up, and I can't forget Secret Adventures of Joe Burrow, The Outer Limits. They had a new Outer Limits, Night Visions, The Dead Zone, Andromeda. Battlestar Galactica, Doctor Who, Jake 2.0, Special Unit 2, Heroes. Because remember, that was a Universal. Stargate Atlantis, Star Trek Next Generation, they would show them in syndication. Warehouse 13 was a big show. Eureka was another brilliant show. 2006, 2012. Caprica. I mean, this is just Friday. This is just Friday. They had a pretty hit lineup throughout the week too. But Fridays, they said, you know what? We don't believe that people have given up on Friday, and they had the ratings. And then all of a sudden, you know, I start seeing the disappearance of the TARDIS and flying fucking sharks. And every other reject shark movie. And then when the Meg came out, they had to have their own Meg, the Megalodon. I'm like, what the fuck, dude? What the fuck? So, yeah. I'm glad to see Stargate back and taken seriously. And whenever Amazon does something, they put it. Dude, I can't wait for Blade Runner 2099. That's going to be like a religious experience for me if that show's good. And so far, nothing Blade Runner has let me down. It's the one franchise that has not let me down with anything. I love the comics. If you haven't watched Blade Runner, Black Lotus, you're torturing yourself. You are shortchanging yourself. And I'm not an animation guy, and I love that show. Obviously, Blade Runner 2049 to me is right now my favorite movie, period. So we have a franchise that has just not let me down. And now I have it in the hands of people who won't make it look like Mickey Mouse. It won't be cheap. And same thing with Stargate. Stargate was an expensive show to do, but people watched it. You don't stay on the air on a channel like that actually needs, you know, revenue from ratings for 10 years. And you can do the CW and stay around forever when it's a money pit. But when you're an actual universal network that is actually a major network that they have investors and it's part of your stock, you don't stay around. And you don't get the kind of spinoffs that Stargate got. So I'm happy about this. And we didn't see the R word, so I'm happy. Happy. Ryan Armstrong, Winter Hawk. I actually met Jason David Frank at a Comic-Con back in the days a few years ago before he died. I envy you. He was at Comic-Cons that I was at. But like I said, I wasn't the biggest Power Ranger guy. So I really didn't, Comic-Cons are big. So he was at San Diego a couple times. I just didn't, I regret. I envy you. I thought I had more time, Thought I had more time. I've heard this. Sliders is a brilliant show, man. I forget. Yeah. Starscape was from the land down under. Yep. That was, dude, and it got canceled in Australia because it was so expensive. Everything. Lugo, look at Fargate. Wow, how the fuck did I do that? Fargate. If you look at Farscape, dude, that show they didn't chance on nothing. They weren't cheap on nothing on that one. They spent the money on that show. And but like I said, it didn't. Somebody in Universal and Sci-Fi Channel at that time said, just because it's not working there, even though it's an Australian show, it's not working. It's just not justifying what they can spend on it anymore. So we got some money. Let's do it. I love that show, especially when they split the two Ben Browder characters up on two different ships, and you didn't know which one was the real one. Yeah, that was a very risky. And the Lex was weird, man. The Lex, I still don't get the Lex, but I enjoyed it. You had a dead guy that was the most popular character of that show, but they were willing to take a chance, man. And that's why we don't have that anymore. But I guess you have that in streaming now. Wasn't that Doctor Who television movie on the War Doctor? No. That Doctor was the one. If you look at the Day of the Doctor that the War Doctor's in, by the way, the late great John Hurt, I love that episode of Doctor Who. It shows that Doctor changing into what was his name? He's around now. He shows up at conventions. 7th Doctor. Okay, so he was the 8th Doctor. The 8th Doctor was the one that was in the television movie, and he actually returns. Yeah, Paul McGann. Paul McGann was the 8th Doctor. He only makes 2 appearances. He makes an appearance in that TV movie, and then The Day of the Doctor with John Hurt, they show him turning into John Hurt's character. And then John Hurt's character was a character. The War Doctor was one that they didn't want to recognize because he wasn't someone that he existed explicitly to fight wars, and that's not what the doctors wanted to be. But they had to have that doctor for that particular story. And then that doctor, the John Hurt doctor, turns into what will become Christopher Ellison's doctor. So for a long time, the War Doctor, technically there's 15 doctors, but they didn't count the War Doctor because doctors never wanted to acknowledge its existence. So yeah, they took Doctor Who and they put it at, because Matt Smith's run as Doctor Who is legendary. Matt Smith's a lot of people say David Tennant's run, and David Tennant had a 5-year run. Matt Smith stories that they told, and that launched his career in all kinds of places now. But yeah, Matt Smith on Doctor Who is some of the best stories that they've ever written, period. And that was at the end of the Sci-Fi Channel and the beginning of the exclusive BBC era, and then it would go over to Disney, which I did not like. I don't like when all people can't have access to Doctor Who on regular TV. That's the whole thing about Doctor Who, is that it's successful. Everybody can get into it. It was free. Shit was on PBS. I first saw Doctor Who on PBS for free. So yeah. Oh yeah, Cleopatra 2025. There's another one. Dude, I probably should do a stream on the Death of the Sci-Fi Channel. Because look what I got now. Do I even have that fucking channel? Let's see here.
Aaron had one too. Like, what were your thoughts on when they changed it? They changed the spelling.
I hated that.
Yeah,
I hated that. Why did you do that?
I remember that being like a popular decision.
Yeah, the haunting of Connecticut, and it just became a lot of these B movies, Horizon Line, A Form of Couple, just a lot of these movies that, like, when the video stores are over, these are the video stores are open. These are the kind of movies you would see. Happy Death Day, and a lot of it's a lot now that it's used a lot for Universal movies because it's a Universal channel. Drive Angry, Beast, and I don't want Retribution. I don't mind these. Oh wow, the Expendables. Now you see, no fucking reason for that to be on the Sci-Fi Channel. Drive Angry 3D. What is this? 2000 level, and it's all just old Gattaca. They even show Gattaca. What else? Tyler Perry, Boo 2, okay, Halloween. Why are you on there? What's the Northland doing on the Sci-Fi? See, this is what I mean. They lost their identity. There are other networks. Peacock. Go watch this shit on Peacock. I'm not saying these are bad movies, but why are they here? Oh well. Rest in peace, Sci-Fi Channel. And when I say Sci-Fi Channel, Sci-Fi Channel. Sci-Fi, SCIFI channel. Not SYFI. What the Stupid. I don't know where Brad just leaves the show. What the hell? I hope he's got to pee. The show, I know the show Sliders with Kari Wurr was in that from Remote Control.
Sci-Fi Channel. Yeah, it's because a lot of the Asylum's stuff.
That's bullshit. That is bullshit. That is not because I have one opinion about that or another. Say your name. And then look what you did to the channel. Even under the goofball spelling, I still know what sci-fi is. I think I do. Say your name and then look at what you're putting on the network.
And for those of you like aren't familiar, the Asylum, they're an indie studio. They're kind of their business model is basically they make they make movies that are titled and kind of engineered to sort of ride the coattails of like big blockbusters. So that now Sharknado is kind of an exception.
It's like the shit I just read you. I'm not saying it's reject, but it's not. It's the stuff that we got we went to the video store as kids, and the movie we wanted was out, and we got the other movie that was that
was like it's like the blockbuster is Coke, and like this one is Pepsi.
Yeah, we got the knockoff, and I'm not. Listen, there's a place for that for Universal. You have Peacock. Like, man, if I could, dude. But then again, they're never going to get that chance again because, well, actually, technically, you know what? Amazon owns the Sci-Fi Channel. I just realized that. So fuck it.
Well, it's funny you should mention that,
Oh,
Aaron,
well.
because there were a couple they had come out this year that one, it was like this is like running off of my number one for the year, Ballerina. It's called Ballerina Assassin, which is like, okay, I mean, it's pretty clear what you're doing, but this one really. This really took me by surprise because, especially because I'm wondering, like, could they run any legal trouble with this? I was on Amazon the other day, and it's funny. Like these are both taking after like what's my thus far my number one, my number two of this year. First one, Ballerina, and the other one, Predator Badlands. And I'm getting Predator Badlands as soon as it's like on digital. So I was going to see if they had it available for a pre-order yet, and they didn't have it up yet on Amazon. But what they had, what I came across, something called Predator Warlands or War. Let me pull it up here. Yeah. And I was wondering, like, oh, did another Predator? Did Tractor like sneak another Predator movie, like kind of like we did with Killers? Did one like fly under the radar on us and just drop? And it's like, then I click on it and I see the trailer. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, it's the Asylum again. So it is what it is.
Yeah,
it's like Predator Warlands, I think it was called, or Predator Warfront or something like that.
Yeah, it is just crazy, but I don't necessarily agree with this completely. Because you're gonna have your audience that has for streaming, and you still have the Sci-Fi Channel on the air. Why not put them on both? Why not put them on? I mean, is that going to be an anchor show? You own it all. It's not like you don't own. I mean, I don't know. I mean, but it's fine. But I just look at the Sci-Fi Channel now, and it's like they made it irrelevant long before streaming made anything irrelevant. They cut their own dick off with the stuff that they did. It's long before we knew what streaming was. So yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I'd already get taken down or something because I can't see it all of a sudden now.
No, we cannot because we'll get knocked off. I'm tired of getting knocked off. Dude, I'm getting taken off for shit that I'm promoting. I got to get clearance for the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 thing because I can get kicked off. Don't
Predator Wasteland is what it's called. Predator Wasteland. And yeah,
can't afford to go to the movies. Find some shit like that.
Can I pull up the Amazon page for it?
No.
Like, we won't get pulled down.
Nah, I think so. We'll still get pulled down.
Okay. Yeah, it's called Predator Wasteland. So
put the link in the chat if you want to. I guess.
Okay.
They don't really care.
I mean, you rent it for $3. So.
Yeah, because if you can't really go to the movies right now, you know what? You're in the mood. You're in the mood. Hey, you got the girlfriend. You're in the mood. Hey, it's kind of expensive. Let's just watch this. You know what? And sometimes it's just fine. Sometimes that gets the itch. You know what I mean? So,
I mean, like a lot of the Asylum stuff is like it gets the job done as far as like being like B movies. Like again, kind of. Yeah, again, it's like here's like the.
I wouldn't pay to see anything from Asylum. I would not pay to see anything. I doesn't mean I wouldn't watch it. I'm not getting up from this chair to do it.
They've gotten this.
Like what would I pay to see from that?
Well, they've gotten some fairly big stars actually involved with like a lot of.
That's fine. That's fine. Rutger Hauer starred in some really awful movies on his way out. That doesn't mean that they were good. Rutger Hauer started some really bad movies towards his life.
I'm looking at some of the Asylum ones from last year. Road Wars, Max Fury. That's definitely Furiosa.
Okay.
Snow White.
Next.
Snow White and the Seven Samurai.
What? Whoa! What?
Yeah, no, I'm not kidding. You want me to pull, I got the Wikipedia up for you. Want me to pull it up?
Snow White and the Seven Samurai?
Yeah.
I wouldn't even turn to the channel for free. So yeah. But somebody out there wants it. Somebody out there wants it.
Twisters. Of course, that's Twisters. Gladiators.
I'm surprised they don't get sued just for people.
Apparently there have been a couple times where they have they have had to like change titles or things like that where like the company like took some legal action. They said so they did have to like adjust titles for pre-release, but yeah, it is. They make these these things for like $8 and they get their money back and
because the budget on those are nothing. It's just
exactly.
It's basically,
And see, Sharknado is kind of a weird one because it's one of their best known ones, but it's not a knockoff of anything. It's it's its own thing. I mean, nobody else is doing like sharks being like sucked up in tornadoes and dropped on Los Angeles.
I love when you look up any Doctor Who. If you like type in the Eighth Doctor, what it not only does it pulls up on Google, it gives you the TARDIS. It gives you the TARDIS that's spinning. Let me show you this. This is kind of cool. So it's just a little shit like this, kind of gets me through the day. So there you go. So I looked up the Eighth Doctor because I couldn't remember the name. Look at that. See the little Doctor? What did I get on there? Oh, look at that. Look at that. That's neat. Yeah. Let's see what it does. Hold on. Does it have sound? No sound. Look at that. It's Matt Smith. Oh, so okay. So that's Matt Smith. David Tennant. Christopher Ellison. The dude we just McCann. Sylvester McCoy. Who is this? This is hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is the 6th Doctor. 5th Doctor, and then there's Tom Baker. When you click on him. Oh wow! Oh, it's a game. Oh wow! Look at this. I was not expecting this tonight. What's this button do? Oh, okay. I'm gonna get eaten by whatever. Can I just go into TARDIS? Or is that where I'm starting? Okay, I'm gonna die here real quick because I'm not good at games. Okay, gonna come back up. What do I do once I reach the... Okay, go on. Uh-oh. Sorry, guys, this is kind of cool. Okay. What is he gonna do? Okay, I guess I gotta go here. Go here. What's this? What's this? Oh, well, fuck. Oh, I gotta get to the G. Well, it's like Pac-Man, but you gotta avoid. Fuck. Oh, wow, that's fucked up. Oh, now, okay. And when you die, you get resurrected as another Doctor. So whoever's next up. What happens when you get to the G? Fuck. Okay, what happens here? What do I do? Okay. Oh, so now I can go back to the TARDIS. I don't think I'll make it. Okay, come on. What the hell I'm doing? Why I'm even playing this game at 2 o'clock in the morning? Okay. Fuck. Go back. This is why I don't stream video games, guys. I suck at them. Come on. Oh, come on. Somebody, this is usually one of those little Google things. Okay. So that's the whole point. Now that was, oh wow, holy shit. There's a bunch of them. Okay, we don't have time to do all these, but that's kind of cool. I wasn't expecting that. All I was doing was looking up Doctor Who, and it gives you this little game. So for those of you who look up Doctor Who, look up the 8th Doctor, and it gives you the little TARDIS game. And I'm assuming that's it for the other ones. That's kind of cool, man. William is going to go work at IG. He's I'm not. He's like that game. All right. Yeah, Blood and Guts was actually one of the better Dynamites that they put on. No, I do not. All right, guys, I think that's where we're going to go ahead and wrap it up because I'm kind of tired. I'm going to try to get a good night's sleep now that I'm done cleaning up and dumping buckets of rain, and we should be done. We got rain on Friday, but not a lot. And then for these races, the F1 races, they're expecting decent weather. And then for Thanksgiving, it's going to be cold, but it's going to be clear, which I'm so happy about. So, okie dokie. I don't know about tomorrow. Or that, like I said, the next month or so, it's going to be kind of, like I said, it's Black Friday, retailer, that reality setting in, trying to get everything going. So I will stream where I can. And just keep your eye on the alert bell. Click on all the social media stuff that I got down there. Click on that link. Share that link for AFSSP. Just like I said, take care of each other. If you see something strange, don't be afraid to reach out to somebody. I mean, it may feel awkward, but okay, let it be awkward because the alternative sucks. So have a good night. Have a good morning, actually. And I will most likely see you guys. Most likely it's going to be Saturday because I will be busy getting ready all day. I got a lot of stuff. I got some guy coming over to 3D printer to print us special items that we'll have on Black Friday. So I'm going to be doing that all day, digging through, pairing things up, shrink wrapping things, gift wrapping things. We got free gift wrapping service. Getting our website in orders for the shipping, qualifiers for free shipping, things like that. So I'm going to be pretty busy along with the other things I do. So Thursday and Friday is like a good likelihood you will not see me. Probably won't see me until Saturday. If that is the case, have a good rest of your week. And I will see you later.